Hey everyone, how's it going? So you're running an errand with Kenny. So I know I always talk about, nightmare customers and stuff like that, and the ones that you just don't want to help and whatnot. But I want to talk real quick about the good customers, the great customers, which is, you got to go off the 90+% rule, where 90+% of your customers are going to be great people. And then you're going to have that 10%, and it's usually not even 10%, it's like more like 1 to 2% are the problem customers. I'll give you a great example here. We had a guy named Bill, and at the body shop that I managed, and Bill never came to us before, but he had a front end collision on his Honda Accord, and it broke the radiator and everything else. I don't remember the exact repair that we had to do, but I had to replace the radiator condenser, the front bumper cover, and I'm the one who actually assembled the car. And upon assembly, when I was replacing the lower hose or reattaching the lower hose, it's a lower hose that actually has one of those clips and an O-ring, so it kind of like fits over and snaps in place. Well, I guess I must not have seated it fully. So every time we were done with the car, I always took him for a good road test, make sure that everything was fine. So I took him for a good road test, went up on the highway, everything seemed fine, gave it back to the customer. And like I said, he had never been there before. So he was happy, everything was fixed, the insurance paid for it. He picks it up. It's like a Friday or whatever. So then on a Sunday, not on a Sunday, on that following Monday, when he was driving to school, he happened to be a school principal too. On his way to school, he said he didn't notice it at first because the temperature gauge never moved. He said, but as he was driving to school, he thought he smelled antifreeze. He's like, okay, but he was watching the temperature gauge. He said he saw it fluctuate a little bit, but nothing, didn't go to overheat or anything else. So then when he took the exit, he said there was steam everywhere. So you got to remember, all the steam was probably behind him. He didn't think to look behind him, but whatever. All right. So he popped the hood open, looked, and saw that the hose had popped off. Now, knowing that we had just done the repair on the front end, he called us. Okay, so we had the car towed back to the shop. So we get it back to the shop, and we look at it, see the hose popped off. Like, okay, obviously it's my fault. I made a mistake. It didn't seat correctly. Put the hose back on it, fill it with coolant, go to take it for a ride. Seems okay, but I'm like, something's off here. It just didn't feel crisp. It didn't feel quite right. So I called him up and I said, would you mind if I took your car home? And he's like, no problem, take it home. So where I lived at the time was it was almost an hour ride. So I went and I drove it home. I'm like, man, just something doesn't feel right. So then on the way back to work, the motor let go. The engine let go. Yep. So we had to have it towed back into the shop. So the only thing I could think of was it overheated so severely because it had no coolant in it. And the reason the gauge didn't go up is because the gauge reads off a coolant temperature. And if the sending unit is not sitting in coolant, how can it read anything? So it doesn't know. It's not that smart. So yeah, it wound up ruining the engine. And the car was only like a 4-year-old Honda Accord at the time. So this was 2019. I think it was like a 2015. 2019, 2018, something like that. It was like a 2015, maybe even a 2016 Honda Accord. It was relatively new. It had about 60,000 miles on it. So it's like, great. So we called the customer, told him what's going on. He's like, okay. He goes, so what's the next step? Like, well, we're going to have to replace the motor engine. We wound up putting him in a rent-a-car. So we found a used engine with 20-something thousand miles on it. And we were able to get a pretty good deal on it only because the wrecking yard, I guess, had it sitting for a while and there was no call for it. So we actually got the engine for a pretty decent price. Okay, so I come in on a Sunday, the following Sunday, and I install the engine and I take it for a good ride, make sure everything was great. And the car ran fantastic when it was done. Call the guy up. He was extremely happy that we were done with it. He comes in and he says, listen, he goes, I'm going to cover the rental myself. He goes, you guys owned it. It happens. Mistakes happen. What are you going to do? I'm glad you owned it and you guys took care of it as fast as you could. And the fact that you came in on Sunday blows me away. You really care about us, the customer. Yeah, we do. So He wound up we told him he didn't have to, but he insisted. So he took care of his own rental car bill. That following week, he actually catered lunch for the entire shop. And it was actually a lunch from an Italian restaurant up the road. And it was fantastic food. Chicken, I forgot what it was, but it was chicken with eggplant, mozzarella, ham. It was excellent. Absolutely excellent. And then after that, he winds up, every once in a while, he would buy the shop lunch. And then he would come in and join us and have lunch with us. And this went from a customer that had never been there before to us basically being at fault for ruining his engine. Not basically, we were at fault. We ruined his engine. It was our 100% our fault. But he was so happy that we owned it and that we stood behind everything we did. He became a fantastic customer. He started referring people from the school to us. So we wound up, it cost us to do that, and I spent a Sunday, but now we got, think about it, principal of a school, how many referrals did he send us? He sent us a bunch. So he turned into a great customer, I gotta say. Now, I've had dealings with people like that for my whole life, and like I said, I go off the 90% rule, but honestly, it's more like 98%. Great customers. You can just get that small percent that's not. Another one is at the shop I'm at now, we had a customer, I'm going to call him Sandy. And he was a very bitter person when he came in. Very untrusting, just not a happy camper is the best way to put it. And the first job he brings us, his truck needs an engine. Okay, it was a V10 no less, Ford. It needed an engine. Okay, all right. He reluctantly went for it. So we fixed his engine. And after that, because we handled him so well, he basically turned around and he became one of our best customers. He is actually the type of customer where he owns his own business down the road. He became the kind of customer, it's only happened once or twice, but where we'll do a repair on it, and he'll come in and say, you mind if I come back at the end of the week? I've had this going on or that going on, and I just don't have the kind of cash right at the moment. Yeah, absolutely no problem. And he always comes in and pays. Usually he pays right away, but if he needs a little extension, that's fine. And we have no problem with that. He's a great customer. We have another customer, I'm going to call him Carmen. And he bought himself a reasonably new car. And I'm not going to say it was a fault of the car, but as you know, some Kias have issues with engine problems, especially the 2-liter. Something happened with the brakes. For some reason, one caliper had locked up in the back, and the car was clean, but the car had 165,000 miles on it, but it was well maintained. We did its first oil change. The engine made no noise. It sounded great. The car was in excellent condition. He bought it on a private sale. Something happened with the caliper in the rear, and his wife was driving it, and she kept driving it. And what happened was, this is the only thing I can figure, is that she wasn't paying attention to like engine RPM, because she said it didn't have the power that it should. It kept slowing down. And I think that she wound up having the thing nearly floored going down the highway. And having the thing at high RPMs for an extended period of time, it wound up blowing a rod through the side of the block. But we found that, once it came off the tow truck, we couldn't even push it. The wheel was that locked up, we could not push it. So we had to do the brakes too. But in a situation like that, he's a very good customer. He's a very understanding customer. He's a very mellow customer. And when this happened, we actually felt bad for him because, hey, he just bought the car not all that long ago. And a PPI would not have caught this, doing a pre-purchase inspection. It's not a guarantee you're going to catch everything. So we then decided that, we're going to help this guy out. And we gave him a huge break on labor and the parts. I mean, we still have to make a profit, but we kept it to where we were happy with it, where he was basically getting the friends and family price to do the repair. So he was blown away by our generosity, and he was so happy. And he's another customer that sends people our way all the time. He does it all the time. Great guy. So it's you feel bad, and yes, you have to do things for customers where you feel bad for them, or you have what's it called? Not gratuity. It's shoot, I can't think of the name now. It's Goodwill. It's called Goodwill, where you Goodwill repairs to a customer because it's better in the end. It's like we have to be as a mechanic, as somebody that's face to face with the customer. You have to be kind of like almost like a therapist. You have to know and you have to know how to deal with that person's personality, because obviously not everyone's going to have the same bubbly personality like I do. Some people are going to be short with you and stuff like that. Some people are going to be bitter. Some people are just going to be that personality that's really short with you, but that's just how they are. It's like they're not trying to be mean. And you kind of have to know how to work with their personality to make the best of a situation. And I had the one customer, I told you about him, Franco, and he's the one, if you recall, the ignition wire that popped out of the coil, and it was making a tapping sound, because the spark from the coil was jumping to the wire. It didn't have a misfire, which was wild. Didn't have a misfire, but you could hear the snap, 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 snap from the coil, and he thought it was a cam that got wiped out. So I fixed it, and I didn't charge him. And so many people said, you should have charged him something. You should have charged for your time, blah, 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 blah. But then again, the customer gave me a pickup truck later on, a 4-door, that I was able to turn around and sell for $4,000. It's like, and I told him, if you're giving me the truck, I'm going to fix it and I'm going to sell it. He's like, you do whatever you want with it. And he turned out to be a fantastic customer. And he brings his trucks from 4 hours away for me to work on since I moved, because he trusts me. I mean, you can't ask for anything more. I mean, seriously, you just can't. But it's like I said, you got to know how to deal with people and their personalities, because everybody's different. And you got to know how to work with that to gain their trust. And I think I'm pretty good at gaining people's trust. But there's obviously some people, like the guy with the, I don't know you, you call me sir. There's people like that you're going to deal with that, what? I don't need you as a customer. I just don't. Goodbye, you're fired. But for the most part, customers are great. I love dealing with people. And it's funny because I'm not a people person. I'm really not. People always say, but you have a great way of talking to people. It's an act. That's the best way I could say it. It's an act. Because I'm not a people person. I'm really not. I'm very shy. I'm very, I like to be alone. I really do. I don't like to be bothered. Like that's another reason I like being a mechanic too, is because I'm pretty much left alone. I'm left to do my own thing. The cars don't talk back to me. Yeah, they aggravate me. But it's like I don't know. I don't know how to explain it. But me personally, I like to be, left alone, my own quiet time. It's my own solace. It's my own solitude. And that's what I enjoy. But I enjoy all of you guys too. It's just I have a weird way of showing it. That's all. So anyway, I hope you got something out of that video. I just, I like to show you the real me, and everything you see in my videos is the real me. I'm not putting on an act. I don't edit anything out of my videos unless it's just an absolute foobar that just doesn't make for good quality. If there's an audio issue or a video issue, that's the only stuff I edit out. But when I make mistakes, I show you. So, all right, guys, thank you so much for watching. I do appreciate it. Thank you to everybody that's a customer that's been coming to me. Thank you for everybody that comments. I try to answer comments as best as I can. Mrs. Wrenching helps too. But when I tell you, I get, just on the channel, I get 10,000 comments a month. 10,000. So, yeah, it's a lot. So to try to keep up with it, it's becoming a full-time job. And I do try to answer everybody as best I can, but obviously I can't get to every single one, and I do miss some. Sometimes they fall into the abyss. All right, guys, I hope you get something out of my videos. If you are, hit that like button. If you could, please subscribe. All right, have a great day. Keep wrenching. And thank you.